time for our secret teachings of Jesus. This is our secret midnight sermon. I hope everybody has had a good weekend. I have. It's been fun at the restaurant. Everything was pretty good tonight. I had just like this wild bunch of bachelors out for their bachelor party. It was a little bit tipsy, but very nice, very chill. You know, they're just all excited and having fun, and everybody wants to order their drinks at the same time. And I just had to like use my southern sass to like get everybody under control. And then like we were all having fun, but they were like, first they were like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry." And I'm like, "No, I'm just like, you guys, just everybody needs to behave, and then we can have fun. Behave first, and then we can have fun." They all had a good time. But we're here now, and we're here to continue on in our study of the Gospel of Philip. And if you haven't tuned in to one of these secret sermons before, this is the segment that I lovingly refer to as Secret Teachings of Jesus, where I am reading from the Nag Hammadi scriptures. I was really curious about the Gnostic Gospels, and I'd just been wanting to read them for a long time. So I bought the Nag Hammadi and the Dead Sea Scrolls and some other books, and I didn't know when I'd have time to read them, so I thought I would do it together here as a segment and share it with everyone. So here we are. And I'm not a theologian. I just enjoy this. I'm a nerd. And basically what I do is I come in from work, set my little light up over there, and then I just find a passage that calls out to me. I read it 1 or 2 times over, and then I start the video, and then I'm giving you the downloads that I'm getting as we're going. And then as it turns out, like, there have been times where I've just like checked into like these like introductions where they're doing like the literary dissections of like the context of things. And as it turns out, we're right on, we're on the money a lot of the time. And then we'll check the footnotes, and we've kind of like, we're confirming that we're on the right track. So I don't know, it's just all been really fun and really enjoyable, and people really like these. I think that I get more response and excitement and intensity and sometimes controversy from the Secret Teachings of Jesus videos than any other thing that I do. So people love Jesus, and I think that it's fun because we get to see and learn about a completely different side of Jesus that is not really given to us at church, and it's a very different personality, I think, coming through a lot of times. So that's been really fun. As far as what we've covered so far, you can go back to see what other videos we've done in a playlist that I have on my channel, which is Light Love Magic. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so Secret Teachings of Jesus, the playlist, has everything that we've done so far. First, we started with the Secret Book of James, James as in Jesus' brother. And that one was more narrative. It had some dialogue, some scene work. That was really fun, being the characters. And now we're in the Gospel of Philip. And so this is more like these passages that are just these portions of cryptic texts that are meant to be sort of meditated on. They're like seeds that are planted, and you just kind of mull over them, if you will. Sort of like mental yoga. And yeah, so tonight's portion is called Prayer of Thanksgiving. Ooh, it's raining out. That's very relaxing. I was like, what is that noise? And I was like, oh, it's the gentle storm. It's very nice. A prayer of thanksgiving. He said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving, "You who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite angels also with us as images." I'll read that again. He said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving, "You who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite the angels also with us as images." All right. So he said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving. So this is a reference to the Eucharist, the communion, as it were. Jesus modeled the Eucharist on the cross. We use bread as the Eucharist to break open the flesh, the material world, to reveal the light from within, the fulfillment, the sustenance, right? When we break the bread, we break it to eat it. It reveals the sustenance. When you, on an energetic level, when you make a sacrifice, what needs to happen is a vessel needs to be broken open to reveal a spark of light in order to redirect that light into a purpose, right? So that it can go into the perfection of the vessel and the light of fulfillment. It's like when we break open these sparks through our energy, the light can go to the side of the light or the dark. Like if we break open, like you say, if we're reactive and we lash out at somebody and we create negativity and pain, then we've revealed a spark of light because it's very intense. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of power, raw power. And it gives us that surge of energy and almost a sense of satisfaction to lash out in the anger because it's like an immediate gratification. But in that revealing of the light, it is taken by the negative side. And so like my scales back there, that light has now gone over to the negative side and it's weighing down that side. And our job in this world is to take our lot that we're given, this density that's been, this refuse of darkness, this negativity that's left in this realm. We can't get rid of it and disappear. What calls a paradox, right? So it has its place in this world. It takes up a valuable space. But what we need to do is transmute it. And so we're given this density, this negativity in each life that we're here. And it's our job, it's our responsibility to transform this, to break open these shells of our ego, to reveal the light for the good, for the sake of sharing. And for the purpose of like sharing the light with others, it adds greater light into the world, right? When we can take our anger and heal it and turn it into compassion and understanding, or even passion for a cause, then that is forever changed that portion of darkness into light, right? That's going to add on the side of the light, right? Instead of the side of the dark. So, when we break open the shells of negativity within us in that moment, we reveal light that ends up becoming joining the side of the light. Whereas if we say another way we could react, for instance, in a negative way, is maybe to let's say let's pretend I have a gluten intolerance, but I also have like a terrible craving for pizza and pasta. And I end up eating a lot of food with gluten in it. I have reacted in a way that reveals fulfillment. However, it has been done in a negative way that's going to add negativity and it's going to do damage, right? It's going to do damage to my insides or cause me pain or discomfort or sickness. If you react, say, by holding a grudge and growing in bitterness and becoming vindictive, right? You're taking light because being vindictive when you're very bitter and angry, it's so satisfying. And holding judgment and grudge against people, it's very satisfying to the flesh. It's instant gratification to pacify the body consciousness. However, that's taking the light and adding it to the negative side, adding more shells of negativity around you, and continuing to conceal the light of source, right? When our goal here is to break down these layers of negativity called klipot, so that we can reveal the concealed light within us from the Creator. So we're always doing that through acts of Eucharist. And, in our day-to-day life, that looks like catching ourselves in a triggered moment and really following it and saying, okay, what is this really about? Like, where's this coming from in the past? Like, trying to understand it and really transcend that, because you have a different understanding about it, and you have a desire to add more goodness to the world and not more darkness, not more pain. You don't want to experience more pain, and you don't want to add more pain into the world. So let's go back before I get too far down a rabbit hole. He said on that day in the prayer of Thanksgiving. So the prayer of Thanksgiving in the Eucharist. We've talked a bit about the Eucharist. So when we break open the bread, it reveals light, right? And one of the secrets of the cutting of the bread in Shabbat is that it's cut into 12 slices, and one of the pieces is taken and thrown away. And that's part of the sacrifice that's thrown over to the opponent, like a dog throwing a dog a bone to keep the opponent satisfied and busy so that you can redirect all the light into blessing. But that, I kind of digress. It's not necessarily directly related to the point I'm getting at, or it might be. We might find that we have covered a point. So you have united perfect light with Holy Spirit. A lot of times we have talked about in these, just generally on my channel, but as particularly in these segments, the concept of light and vessel. So guess what? We have chart. Chart is back. So this is the tree of life. And so this episode is going to be probably a lot less emotional and more technical. This is going to be more of a technical lecture so that we can really start embodying like our understanding of vessel, the tree of life, these Sephiroth, which are dimensions of consciousness and being. So basically, the universe, or this is a map of the microcosm of the universe, the microcosm of the human soul, and the macrocosm of the Godhead. This is what we try to understand God is. This is all of the aspects of the Creator. Think of white light. When light is white and just pure light, it contains all the colors of the spectrum of the rainbow. But it is when it is diffracted through a crystal, through a prism, that we get its variances, its separated categories: violet, indigo, blue, green, orange, yellow, right? So the light of source, the light of the Creator, same as white light, right? But greater. Pure essence of source was all there was. It was just this eternal essence of beingness, of pure light, before there was ever existence, before there was ever any of this. But the light had a growing tension. And that tension was the crystallization of consciousness and the desire to share that consciousness with another. And so the light had to create a vessel to share the light with. So the vessel, trying to contain the pure light, the pure light is very intense. The pure white light has all of the essence of God within it, the full fulfillment, right? But to have all of that on us at once in its full purity and its unadulterated, like unfiltered potential, it causes complete chaos. It would be completely destroying to us. So that light has to go through a process of basically being condensed and filtered, and it basically goes through this refraction of this prism that separates the light into these different aspects, the different colors of the rainbow of God, the different personalities, the different ways that God manifests. And so as it goes down through these different dimensions, like these circles here, you can think of them as those different colors of the rainbow. This is when that fullness of the white light is refracted into the different governing forces of the Godhead, or the different aspects of the personality of God. These are all the different dimensions of consciousness and of reality. And they are also mirrored within our human soul. So this is actually a picture of God and the human soul and the universe. So we are made in the image of God, meaning we are a mirror image of this. Everything in the universe is. Everything in the universe contains, like, so this is the three veils of three veils of negative existence. So this is non-existence. This is where that pure light comes in the first point here, where it's completely concentrated still. Then it shoots over to, let's see, over this way, shoots over this way to the masculine side. Sometimes I get these backwards when I'm trying to demonstrate because it looks different to me. It's reversed. But the right side is masculine. The light goes to the masculine side first. The left side is feminine. That's where the vessel is received, the receiving. So light created vessel in order for the light to have something to experience with. But the vessel has to go through this process of what we call perfecting the vessel in order to contain the light. Otherwise, it's too strong. So it goes through these processes, which are 10 different dimensions. And this is an unmanifest state or trait or aspect of consciousness. Basically, it's the essence of getting it on a spiritual level. And then down here, Malchut, this is the material realm. This is the 3D. This is this life that we live, that we see. This is the visible world. These things are the non-visible. And this up here, this is completely abstract. Everything that connects these dimensions, these are like the states. So another way to describe these dimensions is that they're virtues. And these virtues kind of have to be in balance with one another. And if they're off, then they're in a state of vice. And so not only do we have to balance each one of these within us, they kind of counteract each other, and they kind of have to be in balance with one another too. So this is the process of our soul correction. This is balancing the governing forces within us, within our mind, within our heart, within our soul, within our body. This is like the instruction manual here. So we go through the path of soul correction, literally on these paths. This is like the directions that they travel in. So the light comes through and it goes to the first masculine, and then that masculine goes over to the feminine. And each one of these contain the fullness of the one before it as it spills over into the next. And every dimension starts as, like, they have their native masculine, feminine. So all of these are feminine. All of these are masculine. But when they're sharing with one another, they're interchangeable. So Keter goes to masculine, but masculine is feminine when it receives. Masculine shares to Binah, the feminine. So Binah is feminine receiving. But then Binah gives over to Hesed, shares to Hesed. So that's a masculine, right? And then Hesed that's a masculine that's become a receiver. So it's become a feminine. And then Hesed is again a masculine, sharing to Geburah, which is a feminine. And so you can never be both at the same time. You're either in a state of masculine or feminine. You're either in a state of giving or sharing. And so part of our soul correction in this life, we're perfecting the vessel so that the vessel can receive and contain the light. And so in order to do that, we balance these various states and dimensions of virtue and consciousness within us. And on the path, on the way to these lines that connect each dimension, these are actually paths. And it's like, okay, well, on the way from this trait, and I'm sorry, when we grow in consciousness, like when God meets us, it's coming downward in a downward motion, right? As the rain condescends to the human, so is the grace of God. It was one of the poems, some piece of poetry that was referenced from somewhere from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. As we ascend in consciousness, we go up this way. So we would be going on the path, right? And as we go along the path, it's like, okay, when we're going from this level of consciousness to this is the path on the way there. These are the challenges and experiences on an archetypal level that we're sort of like all gonna face in this life, right? These are the assignments. So this is like us moving through our mundane lives in order to master these levels of consciousness here, okay? And so on these paths are also associated with angels. Archangels rule the Sephiroth, or the Sphirot here. That's what these are called, these dimensions. They're called Sphirot. So archangels rule these. But different choirs of angels are associated with the paths. And at the different various levels, at different layers. On the paths, these angels are the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters are like, so angels are energy packets, like energy personalities. They're forces of energy and nature, right? And they have like one job or very specific jobs. They don't have an ego. They don't have a soul to save. They don't have like your angels don't have sentimentality over you. These are governing forces of nature and of the cosmos. And they have jobs. And they're here to serve us. We're here to be able to work and ask with these angels and put them to use. So different angels have different levels. The archangels are like the top dogs. They're the biggest, most strongest, powerful, life-altering, like elemental controlling angels. Then there are like varying like levels of angels underneath them that do different things and they serve different purposes. The Hebrew letters are the angels or the energetic forces that created the universe in reality. They're the building blocks of reality. And each letter of the Hebrew alphabet has its own like resonance, its own numerical value, its own personality, its own job, its own symbolism, its own meaning. And so these Hebrew letters are also known as angels that help you go through these 22 paths that are archetypal lessons for every soul to learn and walk through in order to evolve and transcend in this life. It's like we all are given this assignment, this workbook. And the archetypes are the things that are true at a core, like universal level for us all as human beings. And so these different paths here are like the archetypal lessons that we face. And as we overcome the challenges of those lessons, basically we are fighting our inner demons. We are overcoming our demons and attaining the causal powers, which that's what they were talking about when Mary Magdalene had 7 demons. It's not that she had 7 demons. It was this area here. She had mastered the Zeran pin, which is, so we're here in this physical reality. So what they're saying is Mary was able to master these levels of consciousness here, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, the final earthly level of consciousness. Das is like a prophetic understanding, so it's not necessarily part of the spirit, although it's represented in the same way. And then above this level, this is not even consciousness we can get to. This is pure divine feminine, divine masculine, unadulterated, like pure energy, electrical power that creates like the building blocks of reality of the universe. It's totally abstract. And then this here, Keter, this is God in the most abstract, pure, potent form. So this is the supernal realm up here, and then this area under here is the Zeran pin. That's those 6 dimensions, and then that 7th is Malhut. Okay, so where are we now? He said on that day in the prayer of Thanksgiving, so in the prayer of the Eucharist, and essentially, when we talk about the Eucharist is this whole process. Everything that we're doing as we walk these paths, as we come to each of these dimensions of consciousness to overcome these challenges, we are breaking open our flesh, our body consciousness. We're trying to die to that. These ego deaths, they come in layers. They're called shells. They're shells around us that encase that light and conceal our light within, called klipot. So the more that we break that klipot in the spirit of Eucharist, to sacrifice ourselves, to sacrifice our comforts, to face our fears, right? To put that instant gratification aside and reach for something that is of greater value, of greater purpose, to deny ourselves the satisfaction that's going to cause damage, right? We perfect the vessel. And so that is our process of earning the light and gaining affinity with the light. So we're always just breaking down these shells in that spirit of Eucharist, right? Sacrificing it, breaking it open. This here, Tiferet, this is the heart center in the chakra of the body, and on the map as well. This is the Christ center. This is where the Christ consciousness is on the tree of life. It's also true that Jesus dwells in the heart. That's what that means. The Christ consciousness dwells within the heart. The heart is a bridge to this whole realm of the inner intrinsic world, the non-material. We call it the 99%, because this is most of reality, what we can't see. What down here, this is only 1%. This is the illusion. This can all change according to this, right? As soon as we change on an energetic, mental, emotional level, we can start changing our reality with our consciousness. So, let's see, where are we? You who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite the angels also with us as images. So as we perfect the vessel, we gain affinity with the light, meaning we become more like God. We become more in the image of God, right? The more of that negativity we break away, the more light of God is revealed from within us, and it radiates from without. So we are becoming mirror images through our own self-sacrifice of our own ego, of our own limited personality, to perfect the vessel so that we can restrict the body's consciousness to want to receive for the self alone and reach for instant gratification, and instead delay that reach for instant gratification and choose to receive for the sake of sharing. You who have united perfect light with vessel, unite the angels also with us as images. So yes, we go through each one of these paths, uniting the angels, right? Connecting the dots, essentially, connecting our consciousness, making everything unified. Oh, back to the Christ center. So the Messiah, the Redeemer here, it's very important that this is in the middle of all of these different intersections, because what happens here is this energy gets redeemed. It goes through all these different ways here. It gets broken open in the sacrifice of the whole. That wholeness, the fullness of the light. Everything that is contained in the light was contained in the Christ. Everything that is contained in the light is contained in the Christ here, in the Tiferet. It is broken open in sacrifice so that all of these things can be in temperance, integrated together, redeemed, healed, interconnected, brought together as one, right? We separate it so that we can see it all and understand it. We can see it all so clearly, and then we see that it all is contained in the whole. It's all whole. We are whole. Everything is one, and it's all contained within us, right? So everything is blown up and then comes back together within the Redeemer. And then it is brought down even more through refinement, through our understanding of spirit and beauty and creativity and what we can't quite categorize, and then also the mathematics and the symphony and the things that we can minutely categorize. Everything is brought back together, passes through the realm of dreams and the astral world, and then it is all mushed together and it is crystallized and burst forth into this physical realm. So everything has to be united and connected again to be manifested in the 3D. So everything is contained within the 3D. It's just that that density is collected around that light. And it is our process here. It's our gift. It's our purpose on earth to go through the process of taking off the heavy weight that keeps us down here, that density. The more that we take it off, the more we can lift our spirit, our consciousness, our soul transcends all of these problems, these worries, these insecurities, these competitiveness, jealousy, scarcity, whatever it is, fear, lack, doubt down here. We transcend it, and we elevate in consciousness, right? We rise and go to heaven. But the heaven is what's being revealed from within. And then it is expressed without and experienced in the outer world. He said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving, "You who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite the angels also with us as images." And so this is also the process of perfecting the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us, perfecting each of these. This is the central column that holds it all together in a state of balance, right? And so when we can bring the divine feminine and the divine masculine within balance within us, that brings on the holy marriage of the two. So it's where the two become one inside. So the divine masculine and the divine feminine, when the holy marriage of those two happen within us, it's like the upside down, how do I make a triangle with my hands? Oh yeah, upside down triangle and the upright triangle coming together as one, making that 6-point star. When that happens, when we are unified within ourselves, that is when we, as a perfected vessel, can unite unencumbered with Holy Spirit, with divine source, be in direct union with divine source in the sacrament of like the bridegroom and the bride. All of that language in the Bible that talks about the bride and the bridegroom, this is what we're talking about, right? It's the divine union of the human with the fully human with the fully divine, right? It's the marriage of that fully human person with the creator, the source within us. That actually is us. We are source. Like having source's experience through self, discovering source again, through self, reflecting on self, at self, from self, to self, with self. Returning to self always, to source, right? Light and vessel, always becoming one. Okay, so he said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving, you who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite angels also with us as images. So we're uniting those angels within us. When we overcome our demons, we claim those powers and we rule. We reign. We can wield the forces of the universe. We can co-create with source. You know, the angels are here to serve us. But it takes our consciousness to direct them and our purity of our energy. The more balanced we are here, the more we can be sustained and eternal and not reactive, not going up and down, sad one day, happy the next, scared one day, strong the next. The more we're consistent, the more we have affinity with the light, because that light is eternal. It's an eternal radiance, always. Unwavering, unfluctuating, just perpetual. And the more perpetual you are in any mood, the more power you're gaining. So make sure that you're perpetually in a state of peace, in abundance, in release, in surrender, in acceptance. And that state will put you in such a high vibration that nothing shitty will stick to you long. And even if shitty things come your way, that certainty is going to turn it around in your favor. Bonus points, trust me. All right, you guys. This has been prayer of thanksgiving. He said on that day in the prayer of thanksgiving, you who have united perfect light with Holy Spirit, unite the angels also with us as images. I feel like we could have still talked for more, but we didn't, and I think I'm going in circles, but it might be one of those episodes that we circle back to for a part 2 next week. I just feel like there might be more, but maybe not. We might have covered it. I don't know. We'll see. We can always circle back to more of this. And there's endless years we could spend just talking about this chart without even the details filled in. It's amazing. All right, you guys, we have made it in under 45 minutes. Yay, go us. Whee. I'll see y'all tomorrow for our Oracle energy forecast for the week. Take a look ahead at the conditions we'll be living under. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Ciao.